Legal tampering? It's the dumbest name for a section on the NFL calendar.
Just call it in the negotiation period.
How about you just open free agency and say these guys that are agreeing to deals can sign deals? But I digress.
There's that too. I mean, I guess, you know.
Legal tampering could become legal free agency real quick. The Panther.
I think the whole thing was that there were teams that were literally like waiting on someone's doorstep at midnight when free agency would begin.
You're darn
right.
right.
They want to like, all right, let's get rid of this.
I want him out there like John Cusack holding a boombox above his head playing music for him as soon as midnight starts. That's what I want. Legal tampering is open, which means teams and players, free agents can talk. They can agree in principle on deals, and we've seen a bunch. Kirk Cousins, 4 years, $180 million with the Falcons.
Bruh.
Baker Mayfield.
Insane.
Baker Mayfield, 100 with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Gabe Davis to Jacksonville. Josh Jacobs to the Packers. DeAndre Swift to Chicago. Christian Wilkins to the Dolphins. Sorry, Christian Wilkins to the Raiders from the Dolphins. 4 years, $110 million. But that's a lot of
Derek
money.
Brown going, okay.
Very. Let's actually, you know, that's a good transition. Let's look at some of these deals through the Panthers' prism. Starting with the one deal they've made that has made waves, which is Robert Hunt, offensive lineman, interior offensive lineman, a guard from the Dolphins, 5 years, $100 million. That's no small amount of money. That is the Panthers and Dave Canales and Dan Morgan through a whole bunch of actions over the last week or so, saying the previous regime did just about everything wrong as far as building a roster around Bryce Young. Cut veteran Bradley Bozeman. Cut veteran Hayden Hurst. Right? And not get a lot of cap savings on these deals. Right? They're moving on from players left and right, not re-signing DJ Chark, not electing to tender Emir Smith-Marset, right? If you're on the offense and you weren't handpicked, chosen by Dave Canales and Dan Morgan, and your name isn't Bryce Young, I would be extremely nervous because they do not agree with much about what the previous regime did. And bringing in Robert Hunt on 5 years, $100 million, is just the beginning of them building the supporting cast that they think is best for Bryce. And you're right? You look at Christian Wilkins' deal with the Raiders, $110 million, 84 some odd million guaranteed. Derek Brown's eyes are getting big. They are. And T. Higgins demanded a trade or asked for a trade from the Bengals. I think you should entertain some kind of, you're going to have to throw other things in, a little swap, Brian Burns for T. Higgins in a third. Something along those lines. Brian Burns and a fourth or a fifth for T. Higgins in a second. I don't know. Get creative. But if Brian Burns is your trade chip, they might make that move, and I would expect them to make that move with trading in defense for offense. I think it is very obvious the Panthers have a plan, and that plan involves fixing the offense first and then figuring out what to do with the defense. It's almost like they're looking at Evero and saying, hey, remember last year when you made chicken salad out of chicken you-know-what? The chicken you-know-what's about to get a lot stinkier. It's about to get a lot worse, a lot smellier, and you're still going to have to do that. They're cutting Vonn Bell. Vonn Bell isn't going to get them a ton of salary cap, but it's going to get them, $1 million and change, right? They moved on from Dante Jackson. Doesn't look like they're going to be re-signing Frankie Louvu. They're going to cash in all those defensive chips for players like Robert Hunt. They're going to cash in all those defensive chips for players that they think will more directly help Bryce Young. Because there is the argument like a great defense helps your quarterback, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, you only have to score 21 points per game, and you can win a whole bunch if you're only giving up 17 points per game. I get it, but that's not going to directly. That's an indirect way of helping your quarterback. They want guys that can be on the field and saying, great job, Bryce. Hey, I'll give you extra time if you need it, Bryce. hey, I'll get open quickly if you need it, Bryce.
Well, speaking of that, Joe Person of The Athletic actually posted this just a little bit ago, talking about Robert Hunt, the newest signee for the Carolina Panthers. He's 6'6", 330, big guy. Had the lowest pressure rate among all offensive linemen in 2023, 0.8%. So he only allowed 1 sack and 3 pressures and 315 pass block snaps.
I love this
like,
so
this
much.
is the kind of like, yeah, I like that guy.
But you know what else I like?
What's that?
I like going to Miami because what have I said for a long time? A lot of the skill set between Tua and Bryce Young overlaps for me, right? They both obviously come from the same college program, Alabama. They both obviously have some of the similar, like not being 6'5", 240, laser rocket arm. I don't know what you call that, lack of prototypical size. But they've played in big games. They're not going to get rattled. And their superpower, if they have one, is between the ears, right? It's diagnosing. It's getting rid of the ball quick, right? Robert Hunt having the best, the lowest pressure percentage. Is that what we're calling it? What advanced analytic did we just?
Pressure rate.
Pressure rate. That's it. The lowest pressure rate is good for Robert Hunt. But do you know what else it's about? Tua getting rid of the darn ball, right? So Dave Canales is looking at what Miami's doing and saying, all right, Robert Hunt at whatever percentage, 99.9% of the time, gives you enough time to get rid of the ball like Tua did last year, right? That's not enough time to get rid of the ball like Ben Roethlisberger used to, right? Ben Roethlisberger used to sit back there and take 9 hits and then throw it, and it would be 24 seconds after the ball was snapped. Bryce can't do that, right? Robert Hunt coming in is saying, I'll give you 3 seconds, right? Now it's up to Bryce Young to say 3 seconds is all I need. And that's Dave Canales. That's the receivers who hopefully they have an idea of bringing in someone special, whether it's T. Higgins in a trade, whether it's maybe Calvin Ridley. I don't know who else is, maybe someone in the draft. But the receivers have to get open quick, just like Waddle does for Miami, just like Tyreek Hill does for Miami. They have to get open quick. The play caller has to call plays that let him get the ball out of his hands, and then Bryce has to get the ball out of his hands. Robert Hunt will take care of his part. But, Miami is not a usual offense, right? Mike McDaniel is a bit of that mad scientist, and Canales is taking someone from his team, Mike McDaniel's team. So you need to make sure you can do what Mike McDaniel can do, which is run that offense in a way that takes advantage of Robert Hunt's best attributes. And yes, and it does help that he's 6'6", 330 pounds. Goodness gracious. And that's why he's inside, because the lateral quicks probably aren't there at that size. But he might be able to mow some people down just moving forward. Because the other thing is, I said it earlier, I would put him on the left side with Ike Ekwonu and have him, you just heard those pass blocking statistics, help out pass blocking. I also love the idea of getting Hunt and Ike downhill and run blocking. It's the one thing Ike does at a super-duper high level. You put Chuba Hubbard behind those two guys, that might be 3 yards in a cloud of dust, 5 yards on a good day.